Siman and Gimel, Shulchan Aruch.
Well, what's it?
We're starting from the beginning.
Oh, good. Oh, Dylan,
Yes. We're going to learn the dinim that apply to a shatz, a shliach tzibur, in other words, a chazan. Now, some of these dinim only apply to a chazan kavua, like there was amal in the shuls where they hired a certain chazan and he davened all the tefillas, especially Shabbos and Yom Tov. Today this is common in large shuls. But in Europe, this is a very common thing that it was a formal shliach tzibur kavua, so he had to have certain qualities. So we're going to take a look at the siman. Maybe we're going to skip around. We'll take a look because not everything is necessarily today applicable because of the system we have going today. We're a little different.
But he has Marus Lakal, right?
Yeah, it's different dinim. Yes, oh Lakal, yes. Let's take a look on Siman and Gimel, which is page Kuf Pei Dalet. Din haroi lated lifnei ateva, the dinim of who is appropriate to go before the Ummah. Oboi lamed vav sifim, there are 36 sifim in this siman. Aleph, ad yishtabach, until yishtabach in tzarech l'shatz sheyed lifnei ateva kal. One does not need a chazan up until yishtabach. Avo, no, some people they don't go up till yishtabach. Avo kashmegim yishtabach. Yeah, they don't go up until yishtabach.
No, somebody says brachas, and then somebody says right away. There's no real shots for you.
Avo kashmegim yishtabach. Yeshe lahashatz lamed lefnei ateva v'olem yishtabach. When it comes to yishtabach, the shliach tzibur should go up. Should say yishtabach. V'lo yamtim elei lefnei ad hakadosh la'ach yishtabach. He should not wait till Kaddish after Yishtabach and then step up to the plate. Sheyesh lahasmich HaKaddish Yishtabach HaMashafsher. One should connect Yishtabach with Kaddish right away. So if he's going to say, everyone's going to say Kaddish sitting down on their own seats, and then a Chazan will go up, there might be some time in between, and it won't be some of it. But also lahafsik in Kal, one should not make a hefsek at all in between them. L'chein therefore nogu שהשליח ציבור עומד גם כן כשהם ישתבח של להפסיק מישיבה לעמידה וישתבח לקדש של האחריו.
Meaning?
The minig is as well, the shliach tzibur stands when he says kaddish. Before yishtabach. The reason why he stands is because since he needs to stand when he says kaddish and baruch hu, so instead of him being seated by yishtabach and then afterwards getting up and starting kaddish, we don't want to make any hefsik. Should say Yishtabach already standing. Our minig is that everyone stands by Yishtabach. But over here where the minig was that they were sitting, so the Shliach Tzibur would stand before Yishtabach. Shutzarech leimer oisei ba'amida min hadin. Kaddish, you have to stay standing. Pishu davar shebekadusha. Hu adin labaruch has to be said standing.
Every Kaddish?
The Chazan has to stand when he says Kaddish.
No.
The Chazan.
Only the Chazan.
People have to stand by Amin Hishmer Abba, have to get up.
But there was a minute that people used to sit while they were saying Yishtabach?
It seems like it. And actually, based on something we learned...
Never seen it in any show like that. You saw it?
Yeah. The only reason it's up, you're standing up, I asked yesterday, so you don't sit down. But I don't know if it's...
Which Kehillas still sit? Svardim sit?
No. Yeah, some of them do.
In Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe, in his times, it was clear they were sitting because we learned in two simanim earlier that the minig is to stand by Bevarach David until the pasuk Tifartecha, and we sit down and we say Va'ata Meishav HaKoil, and so it seems clear that they were not standing for the whole Pesach of Zimmer. There were parts that they were standing, and the rest they were sitting. So I think then we were mayor that the minig is today that we stand for the entire Pesach of Zimmer from Baruch Hashem La'ilam Amen Amen and on.
Thank you.
Now, V'amed v'amorim b'shat she'omer kuf hakadosh u'baruch hu. Oh, this is your kasha. When are we just saying? When is this discussing that we need to stand for a davar shebedush lekadosh u'baruch hu? It's talking about the shliach tzibur, who's actually the one saying it. Abal hatzibur, the minyan she'oinim acharav that's responding to kadosh and baruch hu. Yesh oimim she'einam tzrichim lamed. Some say they do not need to stand takef for kadosh and baruch hu. The afa became still noihagin lamed. The minig is to stand b'shas amidas yishtabach filu kashoy meisibiach. The minig is to stand when we say yishtabach, even when you say it privately, not without a minyan. A person should stand when he reaches yishtabach. Yeah.
I think before they hire the Chazan, they have to tell him, here you're standing in the... That's it. It's part of your job.
Yeah.
It's getting paid, so...
Chazan is just stand all the time.
Now, Siv Beis. Ava b'shin tzarech hashatz leimer fnei hateva mishtava ve'elach. Even though the shliach tzibur is only required to stand up by the omud, the fnei hateva, from mishtabach and on, Mikomar can still not tzarech shikal atzmei tchila ksas psuke zimmer bar shamar fneim. He still has to read to himself quietly some psuke zimra and bar shamar. You can't say Yishtabach without Bar Sh'amar and Pesuk Zimra. Yishtabach is the ending bracha of Pesuk Zimra. So you didn't have the beginning, you can't say the ending. So Yishtabach, you can't just walk in and go up to the Amr and say Yishtabach.
Can you go
You
from
can't say Yishtabach. Shadi bracha achroin of Pesuk Zimra. It's the last bracha of Pesuk Zimra. V'chein to limchis berabim shetoyim. We have to protest in public on those that make a mistake, shehim baderech, when they're on the road, they're traveling. When eis lada, they don't have time to daven at length. Shemit meschilim yishtabach, so they just go straight to yishtabach. Mavarchim bracha al they skip sukkah de zimra, they go straight to yishtabach. Say, oh, we're traveling, we don't have time, we'll make a quick minyan.
Yep.
You can't say yishtabach if you didn't say baruch shamar, at least some part of sukkah de zimra. You can't just go and say Baruch Shamar. El Yomer Baruch Shamar, Ksas Psukim Zimra. Oy, and if you don't have that time, you don't have time for that. Yaschilu miyoytze start from the Birchas Kriyishma. You don't have time. Okay, you're a Einus. You're a Einus. You don't have time. Start from the Birchas Kriyishma right after Baruch Hu. Yoytze of Vayri Chayshach. Start from there. You wanted to ask something, David? You wanted to say something?
What? No, I was
Okay.
going to say. I was going to ask what do you do then?
Right.
And what he's saying is start from after Baruch.
Right. If you don't have time, you don't have time. You can't just go up and say one bracha, the ending bracha. Now, what happens if someone doesn't have a talus?
The what?
Someone doesn't have a talus in the beginning of davening, and he only gets a talus later. Siv Gimel.
You could say, I think Mr. Berg brings down the least way he brings down Ashrei should be the Pesuk of his.
Yeah, so we learned a week or two ago, we learned that the main part of Pesukah Zimra is Ashrei. That's the main part of Pesukah Zimra.
With all the halukas also?
The halukas also. The Pesukah Zimra, the
All
halukas.
the halukas.
I mean Ashrei itself is the most important.
Means that
That's the most important. Then comes the other halukas. There is a certain seder of importance, even in the halukas itself. In the previous simon, talks about if someone comes late to shul, doesn't have time.
The ashrei, and then you do the last halukah, and then you say
The
yishtab.
main takana of Pesukah Zimra is to read from Ashrei, which is Tehillah LaDavid,
Yeah.
until Kol Hanashama, Kol Tahalukah Halukah. That's the main Pesukah Zimra, those 6 kapitlach. That's the main Pesukah Zimra. So, if one has to at least say Tehillah LaDavid.
145 to 151.
Right. To 150,
150, sorry.
Siv Gimel. Misha lehoyle talis at shkila shtabach. What happens if someone did not have a talis till, and he started davening? It means that he reaches yishtabach. Lo yivarech al atifa sits beim pesukah zimra yishtabach. He can't make a bracha in middle.
That would be hafsakah.
Ein tzarech leimer be'emsa pesukah zimra. Not only between pesukah zimra and yishtabach, but for sure in the middle of pesukah zimra. That's already the ending. It's sort of like you're finished pesukah zimra. I'm starting the bracha. It's sort of like an ending part. can't say it there, and definitely can't say in middle of Sukkah Zimmer.
So what should we do? Not to wait?
You can't make a bracha like we learned earlier, and two semanim earlier. You're not allowed to make an interruption in middle of Sukkah Zimmer, even for tzarich mitzvah.
Which is the talus.
So the talus is a mitzvah to wear a talus.
Yes.
You make a bracha, you can't make the bracha. Ella, yivarach ben yishtabach liyoytzer. After you say yishtabach, then you could put it on before you say yoytzer. Yishtabach, say Kadosh Baruch Hu. If you're with a minyan, you say Kadosh Baruch Hu. After Baruch Hu, before you said the bracha yoytzer, v'ayri choshech, right there you could say the bracha because over there it's in between. Sukkah Zimmer is now finished. I haven't yet started Birchas Kriyishma. With more lenient place to make a hefsek, you're allowed to make a hefsek there with tzarich mitzvah.
But the question, you can put the talis without bracha, and when you get to this part, you will make the bracha.
Could be.
Because people seem it's not appropriate. Everybody with talis is without talis.
Yeah, maybe that he could do. And then he would have to, that l'chori he could do. Yeah.
What was he saying? What is the remedy?
He's saying is that we're talking about it here someone who didn't have the talus at all until then. But if he had the talus earlier, he's suggesting one could put it on and wait for the bracha later. But when he would make the bracha, you'd have to do something. You can't just make the bracha.
Okay, put
the
the
tzitzis,
Put it in your
hold the
head or
tzitzis
something.
together. Like what do people do with a talus cotton? When someone wears a talus cotton, you wear the talus cotton. You could put it on when you wake up in the morning, but your hands are still tummy. You didn't wash negavas. You're not ready to say the bracha. When you're ready to say the bracha, what do? You take the tzitzis, you hold it in your hand. Memashmish b'tzitzis, you make the bracha. But you can't just say a bracha without doing anything. The bracha has to be oiver lasiyasan, some connection with the ma'aser.
The same thing with the talis.
Same thing with the talus. You would have to do something.
Usually mit'at, if you put it in your head or put it on this, that's what you do.
Could be he mentioned something a little further on. And it doesn't seem like he mentions here. But yeah, you could definitely do that with the talus. Or you could wait. V'chein ebamed v'amon b'yochid. This is talking about the people davening with the minyan. How the shliach tzibur shalai hivi lei talis l'ishtaba. The shliach tzibur didn't get talis l'ishtaba. Yisat yevarech koidim shias l'ishtaba. He should say it before yishtabach.
So
Why?
Why?
He has no choice. Kadesh yoymer hakadosh miyad achishtabach for the yafsik.
But he's making hafsaka anyways by saying making the bracha on lisat of betzitzis. The manushach is to making the hafsaka, whether he does it this way or that way. How do you get around to the hafsaka part?
You have a problem with the kaddish. You're problematic with the kaddish. Make hafsaka before or after you say the kaddish. That's the problem.
It's a bigger issue to make a hefsek.
It's between Yishtabach and
Kaddish.
And Kaddish.
Yeah.
And making hafsaka in the middle of Sukkot
You
Zumah.
have a choice when, if you have such a situation, you have to make a hefsek, and you have to choose when to do it before yishtabach. That's what he's saying for the Chazan.
But it won't be a bracha levatala though.
No.
The hafsaka.
No.
But the other way around,
One is
you make
recommended.
hafsaka after Yishtabach would be a bracha levatala. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you're a private
Which one you
person,
want?
you're davening the tzibur, you should make afterwards, right? But
So why is that not a bracha levatala? What difference does it make if he says shatz or a yachid? If it's a hafsaka, then it comes out to be a bracha levatala, right?
yeah, what seems also, I'm just interesting over here.
The technicalities don't seem to. Mechanics of it don't work.
You have to review the other sifrim.
I came in cold. I didn't.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. You come
I came in cold.
and
He
with
has
the
to.
talis,
He has to
but if
brief
you read
me.
the part from the beginning from last week, you would know the
I
answer.
can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I fucking.
I have to. I'm just saying.
Unless, by the way, he says, Elam Keni V'yulei Achei Yishtabach. Unless the talus was brought to the Chazan after Yishtabach, you have no choice. So that's when he'll make the bracha then. But if he was brought to him before Yishtabach, he should make it before Yishtabach. He doesn't have the choice to wait till later.
Why can't you say it's better than done without the talis altogether? Why isn't that better? They tasty that they have to wear.
Kinira that the Indian of davening with a talus weighs over.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, it's a bit more important.
Why
It's
such
more
a thing?
important.
Why can't he wear it?
There's certain
after-
things we do interrupt the middle of Sukkot Zimra.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
amen, for all amens we do interrupt.
No. You
So
only
ca-
for long Kaddush, you have to stop at a certain place to get the Zimra. You can't say all that amazing to the whole Kaddish. You're not saying
Not after Kaddish to Skabel maybe, but
Right, after you
but in
till the
general,
Skabel. Full Kaddish.
in general, you're allowed to answer amen, kedusha, maidim,
Right.
the full kedusha, the full maidim.
Other brachas.
When I say the full kedusha, you're not allowed to say the parts that are added in on Shabbos, let's say, or Yom Tiv. But Kaddish, Nagdishach, Naritzach, Kaddish, Baruch, Kimloich, you could all say.
You say Kaddish.
So there are certain things we do interrupt.
Right. The Kaddish, because it's Teicha. The
So
important
it's
thing,
Teicha.
Tzibur, even Kaddish, even if it's not Kedusha, the Tzibur saying Kaddish in part of Shachris, I think you also do.
So the dinim of the cheshivah of the talis, we're going to have to learn Hilchasitis for that, to
yeah.
see the inyan of talis, but Shas and Tefillah.
When in
But
the,
you see that it is very negay that a person should
we
wear.
see that Sersi made Tshuva, when you say Shir HaMol, it's after Yeshavah, it's incorporated into the Etzim Tefillah. Because Shliach Tzibur also says it, he also has the Kaddish. He also says the Kaddish, and he's also saying the Tehillah.
That's a good kasha about how you say the Shemalas, because over here we said do not make a hefsek in the
Right, so
Shtabach
you have to
and
say it's
Kaddish.
incorporated in as part of the Etzim Tefillah, so it's not a hefsek. You have to say that.
To look to when that minig started, because it's interesting. The Gemara in Brachas, the beginning of Brachas, those are learning Daf Yomi, it's the beginning of Brachas, but the Gemara talks about being soimer geula l'tefillah.
Yeah.
And the Gemara asks, what about Hashkivenu? And those that say Yiro Inenu. Isn't
Well, they
that
don't say
when
Yiro
you don't have Gal Yisrael,
You say
Yeah.
Yashkivenu in between? So the Gemara says, Geula Richtehi. Because once Chazal were Keveya, that you should say Hashkivenu, so this is not a hefsek, it's considered all one bracha.
But
Well,
Dr.
no,
Rebbe says Yirei Neinu is a
And
hefsek.
there's other Pirushim saying that it's a similar idea of Geula, that Hashkivenu, one of the Rishonim, I think of Beni Yoina, says that the concept of Hashkivenu is that we shouldn't have any nega, pega, all the different Lashonim we say we shouldn't have any troubles, it's the inyan of a Geula, so that's what the Gemara meant, Geula Richta. Other Pirushim is that Pashat once Chazal or Kiveya, that this is the mokum for it, and it's not a hefsik for Gal Yisrael, it's Kegula Richti. So we have to see when Shir Malas Mamakim during a Seis Mitzvah, when was that Takana instituted that has that status that it's able to not to be mafsik and consider like a line of Yishtabach, you know?
So you're saying Ashkenaz according to what you're saying, Yirei Neinu Vismach Libeinu.
The Toysis asks this kasha.
Right, so according to them, they're also the same teretz like Rabbeinu Yoina says that it's not necessarily a ripta, but because they were kaveya it's not a problem.
That's not Rabbeinu Yoina, that's Pashup Shat, maybe like Rashi says. Rabbeinu Yoina says that
you're not gonna
Ashkivenu
say
itself has words of Geula in it.
but not the other. The Alter
No.
Rebbe says
The Toysis of it deals with Yirei Neinu right there, Alasai.
Yeah.
Discusses the saying of Yirei Neinu, how that works out. Vim chenim ein minyan beis hakneses. If there is no minyan in the beis hakneses, yamten asher yichtzim mishtabach, should not say yishtabach, should wait, v'yishtek, they're waiting for a minyan, but yidaber klum ad sheyave minyan v'yem yishtabach v'kadosh. How long could he wait? Yichalahamtim v'lishas afilu chatisha, up to half hour.
Wow.
That's a
Why
long
is a
time.
half hour? Shezau shir kidei ligmer is called Sukkah Zimra Baruch Shem Yishtavach. Really, Sukkah Zimra should take you a half hour.
Yeah.
Ideally, Sukkah Zimra from Baruch Shamar, from the beginning till Yishtavach should take you a half hour. Since that's the time it takes you to take it, so if you're masik a half hour, you separate yourself from it because the whole thing takes a half hour. So you wait a half hour, I'm separated myself, and I made a hefsik from Sukkah Zimra.
But you're talking about an average. The average is half an hour. Some people do it in 20 minutes and 15 minutes.
In our
So
show,
A
average,
typical worker's
I
minute.
said this. I said ideally.
What?
Show me
Ideally,
that
right?
shit that
Yeah, he's telling you an average.
Only the Shliach
I think
Tzibur
ideally,
start talking, or the whole
Ideally
Tzibur?
would be a better word.
For half an hour. Only the Shliach Tzibur?
20 minutes.
No, whoever's there waiting for Minyan. You're waiting for Minyan, right? You
No, I said
started.
here only Shliach Tzibur start.
Oh, no, the other ones don't need to wait. They don't wait.
No way.
No, they can't talk, but they can say Yishtabach.
faster.
Oh,
They can't talk. No one's allowed to talk.
that's
No one's allowed to talk, but they could say Yishtabach. But the Shliach Tzibur can't say Yishtabach. When people wait, this happens not only in shuls, like over here, it's talking about a scenario which could happen. There are shuls that don't have necessarily Minyan right by Hoidu. But they plan that people always come in later and they're going to have Minyan Yishtabach,
By
right?
Yishtabach, yeah.
So it could be that the Chazan will have to wait by Yishtabach. So he should not say Yishtabach and then wait because he's making a hefset between the Kaddish after Yishtabach.
And Yishtabach.
So he should wait before. But the other members could say Yishtabach. Now this happens every day in a lot of shuls where even if they have a Minyan, it's a Minyan mitzumsum, and they want to wait. They're looking to see if they have 6 people. So they walk out. We have 6. So now you don't have to wait before Yishtabach. You could say Yishtabach and then wait.
So why is not a
But the
hefsek?
Shliach Tzibur can't say Yishtabach because he can't make a hef between Kaddish and Yishtabach.
Why he can't make and
Because he's the one
saying
saying the Kaddish. He's saying the
Oh, he's
Kaddish.
saying the Kaddish. That's correct.
Right? So everyone else,
Ashemeka, you
I
know.
would say more. It's better for them to say Yishabach than make a hafsek.
I think so too. Because you're middle of Sukkot Zimra. Why are you middle of Sukkot Zimra? Finish it and then why stop
But
it?
hold on, you say
it's happened
Shemeka.
here. It's happened
So
here.
Shemei
all the
Kain
The
time.
chiyuv is, and Safko Saf, the chiyuv is the
Shalom.
one who's saying it, not
It's
to make
happening
it.
The actual
Sunday
mitzvah
morning.
dibura.
Yeah.
Mitzvah peh.
Afa pikein in tzarech lachs l'roish, hoil v'shaber tzoyni shlayim achmas oines. So even if you waited a half hour, up to a half hour, you don't need to go back to the beginning, since you waited beratzim. You knew you were waiting. You weren't forced to wait.
Shalom Ahmad Ones.
It wasn't an oinus. You weren't forced to wait. B'diavad, afilu shah machmas oinus. B'diavad, even if you waited because you had an oinus, k'nein shel hoya makam naki. Let's say the place wasn't clean, it had to be cleaned, it had to be a makam appropriate to say tefillah. V'chayotze b'zeh be'in shebekriya shehezeh yishmatzichem lachs l'reish. Where it would become in a situation where machma, when something is ba'inus, and you had to wait a certain time, in Hilchas Kriyishma, there's dinim, sometimes you have to go back to the beginning of Berchas Kriyishma to Yitzhar. But Psukkah Zimra, call him Psukkah Zimra, Shem Midavar Seif, which is Midarabanan, Kriyishma is Midaraisa. Psukkah Zimra is Midarabanan, Yishlisich al the Divir Mekilim Sham, you should be Soymech on the words of the Mekilim that are Mekel, that even
You don't
Mitzad
have to go back.
Oines, you don't have to go back up to half hour. Siv Dalit.
What's considered hafsak by Krishma? What's
I don't remember the
that?
time limit. I
Much
don't
less,
remember.
much less than half an hour, right?
Yeah. So take a look over there if there's a time.
Yeah.
B'chlal, it's a klal gadol by Hefsik. One of the big poiskim, Chabad poiskim in the previous generation, his name was Avroim Chaim No. He was famous with his shiurim.
But they're known for
And
the
a lot of the Welt goes a lot by his shiurim. There's always known as the Chaim No shiurim or the Chazan Isha shiurim. This is an Chaim No.
Shom Zalman Arba Chawlin to Chaim No.
So Chaim No shiurim were, he lived in Yerushalayim, he lived in Eretz Yisrael, and he made a lot of svarim called Ksois HaShulchan. So it was his most famous set of svarim. Now, he wrote to the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the early years, in the early in the 40s and the 50s. He passed away himself in 1954, so somewhere in the 40s, 50s. He wrote to the Rebbe, asking the Rebbe why he finds many times in Shulchan Aruch different shiurim for hefsek.
Yeah.
Like it would say for tefillin, if you took off your tefillin and you waited more than, like let's say, if someone had to take off his tefillin to go do something, when does he have to make a bracha again? How long is the shear's man of
Waiting.
waiting? So he said, so it said let's say an hour or two. By talis, tefillin, let's say 2-3 hours. Remember exactly the shir. I'm just giving out numbers. I don't remember the exact shir. By mitzvah sukkah, how long after you left the sukkah can you still do you have? When do you have to start making another leisha by sukkah? Give a bigger shir, 3-4 hours. Different shiurim. So why this change? So the Rebbe wrote back to him like this: every hefsek is a hefsek depending on which inyan it is. If the inyan takes normally an hour, So the hefsek is by not doing it for an hour. Then I separated myself from the inyan. Because for 1 hour I didn't do it. So that's why it's tefillin, let's say. Normally you would tefillin for an hour or two you sit in tefillin. I don't remember the exact shiurim, but... So, therefore the hefsek would be somewhere around there. On Talis, you were even a Shabbos, a Yom to the davening is longer. You'd have a longer shir zman to the hefsek. And sukkah, people sit in the sukkah, you have a meal, you sit for a longer time. So the shir of Talis, you have even a longer time. Let's say someone goes to, after davening, he goes to someone's house. He goes with the Talis. And they come to the meal, you take off the Talis. But after the meal, you want to go back home. You want to put back on the Talis. You're not in a place where there's an Eruv. And so you want to go put it back on. Do you have to make a bracha or not? It depends whether you have the shir zman. It's usually not that long of a time that you would have to be chayav to make another bracha. So every inyan is a finyali. So Psukkah de Zimra is, on average, or ideally, at that time period at least,
half an hour.
Was supposed to take a half hour. Even whether or not a person individually took a half hour or not was not. But that was that's the ideal number.
What determines what's ideal or not?
So
for Hasidim of Rishon,
maybe that was that. Maybe it was indeed average. I'm not sure. So the ma'aser was
how was the standards were established.
So up to a half hour, you can wait for minyan. But after people are saying no, it's a half hour already. It's finished. Now you have to say Baruch Shamar again because you lost the Baruch Shamar. You waited for that long.
Based on the train schedule. That's for darn sure.
So it's based on runs. It's based on statistics.
I'm not sure. I have to look up to see where.
I wonder how these standards how the standards were developed.
It's based on how long it takes to say it.
No, but the other people, some people daven. Some Hasidim will daven 45 minutes.
A lot of people do a lot of things.
Some you go to work as minyan, 15 minutes.
A word takes a while to say in order to be comprehended. There's people who bench in 4 minutes, and there's people who bench in 18 minutes.
So how do you
both? The point is,
how do you determine the standard?
Take the most.
I'm trying to finish a sentence.
The
point is, there's a certain amount of time when you're talking with somebody, like you're talking with God, that it takes to say the word. I'm sure that the standard is based on how long it takes legitimately to say the word, so that a human can comprehend. Not that's not the standard, but that's what people do. But it doesn't mean that that's correct.
Man is right.
Now,
Yeah.
we have to look into the sources to see
I've got
what
Olympic records here.
it's based
12
on.
minutes for Psukkah de Zimra is not appropriate.
No, but
Siv
not
Dalet.
yeah, but I think about 20 minutes, most of the places about 20 minutes, I know.
Not necessarily shiurim from Shulchan Aruch.
I want to go to that place that's 20 minutes to
Yeah,
down.
they're done pretty good. They were b'mila, b'mila.
Thank you, me neither.
So Shulchan Aruch.
I'll give you an invitation.
There's no place that takes 20 minutes.
20 minutes Psukkah de
The
Zimra.
Shulchan Aruch.
Work is
Wanna go
minyan.
there?
Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, these shiurim are not. Sorry, the shiurim of today is shiurim of how long it takes, but you have up to the half hour. It doesn't take more than a half hour, right? Siv Dalet.
Next.
Shliach tzibur tzarich yehagon. He needs to be an erlicha person. Shenamar, notzna alai bekoila al kain sinasiya. The pasuk says. Amru chachamim. There's a certain she has lifted her voice on me, says the pasuk. Al kain sinasiya. Therefore, I hated her. The chachamim say zeh shliach tzibur referring to shliach tzibur. Eini hagon is not appropriate. We yored lefnei hateva, and he goes to daven.
So what does that mean by this?
Ve'ezo hagon. What does it mean hagon?
Oh.
She yereka me'averis.
Oh my God, who has
Someone
that?
doesn't have averis. She pirkei no. He has hainu shaliyatza olav shem ra afil be'aldusei. Meaning he didn't have a bad name even when he was younger.
Nobody check Chazan like this.
No one has the quality.
The only thing is a good voice.
That's
This is
it.
a chazan gavur.
Come on, who has these qualifications? Come on.
Sheyeh anav. You have to at least know the ideal. Sheyeh anav. Should be humble. Merutza la'am. He should be liked by the people. Kadei sheyeskimu l'tfilasei, so they should be maskim to davening. And obviously, yesh lo ne'ima, he also has to have a sweet koil anav, a sweet voice. Shemay shechalev.
That's helpful.
V'rogo likreis b'toyre nevi'im aksuvim. He also has to know how to
Requirement.
know is familiar with the words of Tanakh. Since the words of Tefillah are based on Tanakh, he's not familiar with Tanakh, so he's going to have difficulty. Like you have some people when it comes to slichas, and the Chazan,
the fumble in the word.
even if the Chazan is a chiyuv, I think that the best thing is he should step aside and allow someone
Who's more rugged
to know it, because you don't know the words, you don't know the words. You have to be humble and know your place.
But saying Robin, there's no such thing that a person can have all these qualities.
This is the ideal Chazan.
Come on.
Now, here, hey, you don't find someone who has all these midas. Yivchru hatoiv shebetzibur. Choose the best one of the kehillah. B'chachma of ma'asim tovim. Who do you choose to represent you before the king? To choose someone chashuv, right?
Yeah.
Someone, the person, the kehillah, that is the best in chachma. So Chazan, the way we look at it is the Rav is kilo. Typically, the Chazan also had to be someone of a stature. It wasn't just anyone was a Chazan. The Chazan Kavua who davened there throughout the Shabbos and Yom Tiv was supposed to be someone of stature. This time, anyone could be a Chazan.
Okay. Oh, the koila noyim.
The koili noim.
I'm chafetzim.
If you have an Amoritz, an old Amoritz, the koili noim, he has a sweet voice. Va'am chafetzim bay, and the community wants him. Or then you'd give Shana. On the other hand, you have a bar mitzvah boy. Hamevi mashu oimer. He's not Amoritz. He knows what he's saying. Vein koili noim. He doesn't have the best voice. Who koidim la'am haaretz hazakin. Even if an elder person. He's not a bad person. He just doesn't know. He doesn't know how to read properly.
Pure of heart.
Because he understands what he's saying.
This
He
really
knows the
happened?
meaning of the
I
words.
think so. If they have these two kind people, they really would take the boy 13 years old. I don't
No,
think
I
so.
don't see that.
But they won't.
No, they don't
We're
see
not
that. I
talking
don't
about
ever
here.
see that.
They would say it's a shanda.
We're not talking about with his politics involved. You understand?
But everything is politics. Any issue. Also,
When a yeshiva, they would do that.
Take the tziva in Tanya. It's not. He doesn't bring these much noise. In Tanya, when he brings it.
No, it doesn't talk about the date.
But it says it has to be marutz l'kal. What happens is not marutz l'kal.
He's talking about our shliach tzibur. You should split
if
it up.
somebody's a
amongst
chazan,
things.
he needs special
He doesn't bring all the
judges
criteria. He
to
just
check
brings
him
a
out.
very straight.
out.
Listen, because then already the matzah was very bad.
We never daven.
Also, you have to know where they had this takon of having a chazan kavua. The shul that had a chazan kavua. But it was known that, let's say, Yamnei Royim.
Not a lot like
Yamin Royim, shuls are very picky about who they pick as a chazan. So we have to know that a shul, an Erlich shul, has to know who do you want having the ilah for you, who do you want you representing you, who do you want to going down for the umbud.
Halach itself says there's a stricter criteria by Yom Hilchos Kippur who should be the sheikh tzibur.
They need mamish at tzaddik. You're right.
It's a difference. You have a bird, this, that brings a whole bunch of things.
Listen, it's very hard to
It's
judge.
just table stakes.
Today is very different. Today is a situation where a lot of people, the concept of chazan kavua doesn't exist in most shuls.
Right.
The shuls that have the concept of chazan kavua are usually the modern shuls, which are not medayik in a lot of things.
Right.
The question how things were in Erlich shuls in Europe, when you had in Vilna, and you had in Krakow, and you had in different places where there was a big shul, and in the Ramah shul, and the Toisis Yom Tov, and who did they appoint to be the chazan? Who did they allow to be the chazan? So that was there definitely was issues also then. I remember seeing a letter of a Kehillah writing, a Rav of a Kehillah writing to the son-in-law of the Noida Yehuda. His name was Rabbi Yosef HaTzadik, Rabbi Yosef from Poizna.
He was the rabbi.
Yeah, he was considered a big tzaddik. He wasn't the Rav. He was the one whose Shiloh was addressed to. And he's writing, this Kehillah, or the Rav was writing to him, saying how this chazan that the Kehillah appointed over here, the Rav is writing, I think it was the Rav Taka, he was writing that the Kehillah here appointed the Balabatim, they appointed a certain person named Shimon. And this Shimon, he it says in the Gemara that it was one of the Amiroim, that one of the Tanoim was a Shimon. He was Doirish, called an S in Shabbat Torah. Every S in the Torah, every time there was an extra word S, Aleph Saf, he expounded on it why it was needed. So this Rav wrote in He wrote like this: Hashimin Hazeh, this Shimon, this Chazan, he's Doirish Kol Essen Shabbat Torah. He expounds on all the Essen. Es HaChazir, Es HaNavela, Es HaSheretz. He's the worst. He expounds all of those Essen. He's very into those Essen over there. He's very, so he writes, what should I do? Should I go and make a whole case of it in Homachleikis or not? So the answer back in that situation was, based on whatever the premises were over there, was he should be quiet. Machlekes is going to be much worse.
Machlekes is much worse.
And it's going to destroy the whole Kehillah. And he said, he went very extreme, and he wrote a famous Lashon that he wrote, according to the story, that he said, it's printed in a biography, an old biography of the Noida Behuda, called Meifas Ader, and he said there, Afilu Yamdu Tzelem Behichol. Even if they put up a statue, you know, in the Heichel, you know, don't make machlekes is the worst thing. So machlekes can tear apart communities in some ways more than, you know, sometimes more than these things.
They argue over the color of the napkins.
So obviously, ideally, if these things could be stopped, but sometimes you have the president, you have the vice president, and it's an issue, and they make tzaras for the Rav, right?
Sisterhood.
So you don't know what could be next.
The Rebbe itself, the Rebbe, and the J.J. Hecht, when he first became a Rav, was before, you know, it was before Yom Kippur, and they had a non-gender famous Chazan who did Broadway stuff over there, and he was the Chazan, and he asked the Rebbe what she should do. This first year, the Rebbe...
Yeah, but what was wrong with that Chazan? It was not...
He wasn't Shemer Shabbos.
Oh, forget about it. You can't be...
No,
Yeah,
but neither was the call.
No, the Rebbe told him, don't do anything because of Machlokes. Let him daven for the tzibur. The next year, work for the next year, and replacing him.
Don't start right away. This is a situation. There's different these things have to be dealt with. These things, these things are all temporary things. Like it was in the early years when a lot of shuls were struggling with mechitza issues, and there was always issues with the rav. These things have to be dealt with when the mechitza isn't the best. Sometimes the rav can't come in there and stay there forever. That's the way it is. But if it comes in there, manas, that he's going to misakin it and change it. So with a certain amount of time, he gives them a deadline, he works with them. There's certain room for compromise, certain things which this has to be dealt with some grace rabbanim to deal with, you know, to deal with this issue. I know someone at Shul in Montreal, someone in a modern Orthodox shul, but the oilam was very modern, and they had a mechitza that was very low mechitza, but there was a certain Rav that came in there, and he managed to switch around the whole. He got the Balabatim so much liked him, he captured them, that he convinced them to make a real proper mechitza. So these are situations that have to be, they're very fine-tuned, and they have to be discussed. All the details out. It's not pashut.
Rabbi, in the 70s, my brother-in-law and my sister from Israel, they sent them to Massachusetts, Holyoke, Springfield, to be teachers. What they did in 5 years, it's unbelievable. The whole Kehillah, they got together every holiday, everything. My brother-in-law is a Yemenite, and he has a beautiful voice, but he davened in Ashkenaz. And they want him to be the rabbi there. They want to be the Chazan. So he said, I be everything you want. First of all, put the mechitza. Women here, men here. You cannot come with car to... He changed the whole Kehillah. When he finished the shlichut, they want him to come every year to be the Chazan for Yemim Noraim. Pay him very, very good money.
Wow.
For maybe 10, 15 years, I don't know. And every 3 years he come with his wife. So he used to come to our house. Week before, he has what's the name of the big Chazan? Savitsky? Kazavitsky. He used to take the CDs. It was not CDs, it was tape. And he used to listen to beautiful Neimot, and he used to practice and do it in the shul there. Wow. He's a Yemenite. Silsul Yemenite, but Ashkenaz Nigun. Wow. It's unbelievable. Wow. Beautiful. שיהיה בריא, he's a little bit sick today. Give shiurim in Rehovot once every morning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's until today. Mechitza.
I can't do that.
And the shul still continue.
My voices are shot.
A Rav has to be the leader, not the follower. He has to be the leader, not the follower. Famous Vart.
So we need wealthy
I think
rabbis.
I think it was said by the Chafetz Chaim, but the last Mishnah in Soita talks about what the Dur before Mashiach is going to look out. The Pnei Hadar, Pnei HaKelev, right? The famous that the face of a generation will look like the face of a dog, which means that literally it's not going to look too good. Not so. The taich was what Pnei Hadar refers to the Pnei Hadar. The Pnei Hadar means the face of the generation, the leaders. The leaders of the generation are going to be like the face of the dog. What the face of the dog?
The dog always looks back.
The dog goes ahead of its master
and looks back.
Ahead of its master, but always looks back at the master.
Always
so the Pnei Hadar, instead of leading, to be like the dog that looks back to see where the congregation wants them to go.
Wants them to do.
So wherever they go,
the next president's going to be a woman, basically.
Bloomberg.
Anyway, so Lamaisa Sivav. Misha Avar Aveda B'Shoigig, someone who didn't have a Sivav. The bottom of the page. Misha Avar Aveda B'Shoigig, someone who transgressed an Avera by accident. Hafilo Horeg Nefesh B'Shkoga. Even by accident, Chas Hashem killed someone. V'chaz of a tshuva de tshuva, muter liyesh lich tzibur. V'nei nika in Pirkei Misha muad lasit dvarim sheinu moganav. It's only someone who does this on purpose. Misha balia the shigigas maisa. It's a mistake. It's charet. As a tzaddik gomer l'chol ha'toyra kula. Avol. Im asa b'mezid. Ba'am rabbis. If he did it b'mezid a number of times. Avol b'sha achar chas tshuva gemara. Even afterwards he did a complete tshuva. Ein memanim. Oisei shlich tzibur. He had a time period in his life which is not the best behavior. Even though right now he's a tzaddik now. But since he had a part of time in his life, so people are going to say about him, oh, you know him, when he was younger,
killer.
remember what? So these are not things that you want in a chazan. These are not the type of attributes. What's
name it means?
This is Amish. Even someone who did, if someone did Avera is forced to do the Avera, he could still be a Shatz. He's not considered Ein Pirkei No. Even if he Rachmal Aslan Shmad, but he's forced. He was forced to convert. Forced at gunpoint to convert, like the Maranos, right? Forced. Yachuli Shas Kavua. Since he was forced, even though you're supposed to give up your life, such a case, but the halacha is that oinus rachmana patri in such a case.
Sure.
If you're an oinus, you're pater.
Got to be a big madrega to give up your life.
The Rambam wrote to a
Freak out.
kehila. There's a long letter from the Rambam. The Rambam wrote to a kehila to give him chizuk.
Is it a letter to the Yemeni or something?
Right. I think it's the Geras Teman. It was a kehila that was forced. They had a choice to either leave the country or to stay in Shema. And
So it's Islam.
not sure what religion it was then. And
It's not Muslims. In Tamil was all Muslims.
so Lamaisa,
It's not Catholics over there.
the Rambam writes. Now they wrote to the Rambam that there's someone who's telling us, a certain rabbi, who told us that all our mitzvahs are worthless. Hashem rips up our tefillas. They're not worth anything because of what we did.
And they were.
Because of what we did, we didn't give our life. We didn't leave the country. We gave up our. We didn't give up our life, and they officially converted, but they didn't really convert. They were forced to convert. So the Rambam encouraged them very much. He said, even though it wasn't correct that they did that move, well, Hashem, any mitzvah that they do, Hashem accepts with belovedness. It's a real beautiful, full of a lot of love, unbelievable letter.
Let's get them chizuk. It's unbelievable for the Yemenite people.
He gave a lot of chizuk
Yeah.
with this letter. It's a very impressive letter. It's in English also. You can read
Where
it.
you can buy it in the store?
I think that
probably get it on the internet.
Naim probably has it. I've said it. Rambam has it. Letters,
I've seen people post it.
epistles. What's it called?
Yeah.
Epistles and It shouldn't be too hard to find it. It was probably together with all his other letters. These are long letters, very, very long letters. I mean, very interesting letters.
I would love to read it.
So
You
yes,
think that would
definitely
be
something to read.
I
Something to
would be
read.
surprised if you can.
Well, you can
find
go to the library next door and see if they have it.
On the internet.
The library here.
Oh, they might have.
Maybe
Get us
it's in the
a
library.
Books are sure.
Ask them to have the Rambam and Geras Rambam in English. Maznaim has a set of Rambam in English. It should be part of their set. They have a set of the whole Mishnah Torah in English.
Yeah.
I think they have also one of the books is the English. It has English and Hebrew of all the different Igeris, Geras Tchias HaMesim, Igeris Taiman. There's a number of letters, very interesting letters, very very long essays. And this is all about appointing someone a Shiach Tzibel Chatchila. However, once he's already appointed, now we found out. Oh, people say, "Oh, he did this when he was younger." We don't take him off. We don't take him away from his position. And afilu yatzal mikarev v'yedua v'yedua v'yitziu olav shemra ato v'hu koil shene poisik.
Well, then I feel love.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read it correct. You don't take him off out of his position for something that was found out later. Once he was already appointed, we don't take him off his position, even if it's something that he did recently. But now he did tshuva, right? Afilu yatzal mikarev v'yedua. Once he's up there, it's too late. However, if right now, not in the past, if currently there's a bad rumors about him, it's a rumor, it's not stopping. And he doesn't have enemies that are spreading the rumors. So there's no reason not to believe the rumor. Even an individual in the kehillah can say, I don't want it to be my chazan. No, a coil does not have the status of edus, right? You can't punish them. But for the being this inyan of that you have a good reputation, if this person's having all these rumors that he did a certain aveira, something bad, and everyone's talking, the whole kehillah is talking about it, it's not stopping. It's not just once someone said something and it went away, it disappeared. No, it's something people are constantly talking about this issue, and it's not being spread by enemies of his. People have the right to remove the chazan. This is negay in Dini Choshe Mishpat. The kehillah says that we heard this, we want to remove him. He could say, "What do you mean? Well, he's not a right. That's not grounds for removing me. You know, you have to open up the dinner and know when's the grounds to remove the chazan. That we could say we're terminating the contract."
Peach the chazan.
The shliach tzibur sheyotza pa'amim rabbis treifa mitachas yodei. A shliach tzibur who was a shoichet. And many times Treifa came out from him. Treifas came from him. They found out that Miti was Treifa. V'salkin shetzibur, we remove him from Yeshia tzibur. Ve'ei machziren oise afilu acha sheyas tshuva machsharti li shoichet u'beigat chila. Even once he does tshuva, there's ways how a person could do tshuva, right?
Yeah.
So he could do tshuva in a way that's recognizable that we see became honest again, where if something became treif, he lets everyone know this is treif, don't eat it. We see that he loses money based on the fact it's a behemoth that's worth money. He said it's treif, don't eat it. So we see that had to be they couldn't eat, no one ate it, so he lost funds. So we see the tshuva. So he can now, at a certain point, he can become back to being a shoichet, but that won't help him coming back to being a chazan.
But it won't what?
Help him to come back to his position of being a chazan. He can retain his position of being a shoichet, but a chazan needs to have a certain. You can't have this talk about him. Since he already had a bad name and they removed him, you can't put him back up.
The stira, mela, a sheichet is someone that halacha has to be a Yerushalayim. Even in the Litvish communities, a lot of times it was a sheichet. This once he could be a sheichet already, mela he could be a shliach tzibur.
The difference is like this. These people we're talking about, people that did tshuva. The tshuva, once a yid does tshuva, he's a tzaddik gomer. Tzad tshuva is a tzaddik. It's wiped away. It's about tshuva. It's over. However, and we're trusted, so he could be a shoichet. A chazan, something else. A chazan, you have a certain reputation. You can't have someone standing up there who people talk about and have recollections about him has passed, and it's not something which is it's not someone that you want to be that people look up to in that way. Meaning, right now he's a tzaddik gomer. But the fact that he has this baggage with him is not good for being a chazan. It doesn't mean him as being a tzad. He's a tzaddik gomer. He could be a shoichet and everything's good. But being the chazan, it's not a personal thing. Being the chazan is something pirkei no. You know, you're davening before the Eibishter, you're the nitzig of the call. Who do you want to send?
Someone's clean.
To be the tzaddik, the one to be the tzad, the one to bring the nitzigos up to the call. So that's a certain. Siv Zayin. Roi l'shir tzibur she'yikonos l'beis ha'knesset rishim v'yeitzachim. You know, I think that even a lot of these dinim, even though we don't fulfill a lot of these dinim, but it's important. The fact that we learn about it gives us a certain inkling and understanding what tefillah is meant to be. So we learn a little bit about how the importance. A shliach tzibur should come into shul first and leave last. He doesn't rush. He's davening. V'toiv lachs a shliach tzibur ben tzaddik. It's better to take someone whose father is a tzaddik. Also, Keini doime tefillah tzaddik ben tzaddik. You can't compare the tefillah of a tzaddik ben tzaddik to tzaddik ben Rasha, like we say about Yitzchak and Rivka, right? That Yitzchak ve'yotzer loy. That Hashem answered Yitzchak's tefillah before Rivka, because Rivka had a father Besuel. And Yitzchak had a Besuel, yeah? And Yitzchak had a father Avraham. V'yeshayim, the opposite. Shetzadik ben Rasha, tefillah al tzibur yoysin ishmas. Metfilas ben tzaddik. Shetoich she'en le'schus avis v'shvar up tefillah she'meteach b'tefillah ha'mayis ha'voyisa k'im ben tzaddik. Ki machash ha'kadosh baruch if I cared. A guy whose father's a Rasha, he doesn't feel big about himself. I'm not a miyuchis. I'm not a yichus. A father, who was my father? So, Adrabah, that makes him feel that it's all, he feels humble, he feels humble about himself. He doesn't feel, and he feels that everything, what I have is, oh Hashem, I can't rely on my father and my yichus. That's not going to help me. Le'inga ma'iseh, what should we do, lachal ma'iseh? Interesting psak. Hakoy lefi ingen shlufas ruach shel zeh, v'tzizkei savayz lozeh. How do you judge? If you have this one against this one, Tzaddik ben Tzaddik, Tzaddik ben Rasha, both up to the ballot to being this chazan. So he says, but Tzaddik ben Rasha, we have to see how much anivus does he taka have compared to the tzidkus of the father of this one. So let's see if which overweighs what. The tzidkus of the father of that chazan, or the shiftless of this person whose father's a... You look to see what outweighs what.
I have a question. When we weigh how much this person is being...
Where are you going to get the better money?
What we've weighed, how much this person is relying on his father. That way you're relying on this person's father and this guy there, relying on the individuals. How much is this person an onav? If he's an onav, it shows he's not so saimich on the tate. But if he's a big value and he's saimich on his father, I don't know what...
Not about Gaiva, but there is a certain mile. Obviously, everyone's masking. Even the second opinion agrees that there's an Inyan Tzaddik ben Tzaddik. Because when Hashem looks at this person, this guy's clean, him, his father, it's a special thing. It's a special thing. It's more Mashenkin if there's some psul, so it's not everything's not all good. There's certain issues over here. This is the father was a Russia. He was in the Italian mafia, right? So there's an issue over here. Over here, the son is not. By the way, he's not about tshuva. The son, he's a tzaddik, but the father is a Russia. The issue is only about the father. So they say that there was a certain town that they had a minig that you have to, people make a hesped. But some people they don't have money to pay someone to make a hesped for them. The takana is you don't bury someone unless a hesped is said. Unless there's a hesped, you're not allowed to bury someone. So they made sure always to find something to say shvach or something because you can't. There's in that town was a minig takana you can't bury someone. There came someone and. That he was
Russia.
He was a Russia. There was nothing good to say about him. But you have to say a hesped. You can't let him to go into the. So waiting. Finally, someone got up and said, "I have a shvach to say about this Russia." He said, "As given a sach shener from sein Tate. He was a lot better than his father."
That's good.
You're able to recover him, you know.
So, Rabbi, I think that every shul now has to have special committee of checking the Chazan. It's another parnasa for a few people.
Another macher to go check something.
Okay, one more sif. We'll go to Ma'ariv, one line.
Yeah.
Sif ches ein mumen paisna b'kenim. All the different mumen blemishes that a person has are only by a kohen who serves in the Beis Hamikdash. And Allah have these mumen. Loi b'sheich tzibur. Afa became still no yishizar b'mumen hagloyim. Something which is very clear and sticking out to everyone. People see it. You should definitely put someone who looks also begashmi is just presentable. Let's say that.